Hi everybody, my name is Barry Schwartz and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, April 12th, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at seroundtable.com over the past week. I guess you guys have been seeing our new intros, slightly redesigned intro with multiple music clips. So I think I have about 10 different music clips. Some like the new ones, some don't. Well, I keep cycling in new different clips. In any event, moving on, Google has been having this bug, the indexing bug, which we reported last week. And because of that, the algorithm trackers are kind of way off. And I think a lot of the tools are going nuts, specifically because when you remove part of their index, those ranking tools are saying, hey, these pages are no longer there, and thus the rankings have changed. So a lot of the tools are seeing insane spikes around that, around the weekend traffic dates. So again, it's hard to say if it was an algorithm update or just the indexing bug. Talking about the indexing bug, Google 2 nights ago, Wednesday night, said that they fully fixed the de-indexing bug, which started last Thursday. So it took them about 6 days from when it started to fully fix the issue. It seemed like it was mostly fixed anyway by Monday or so, but there are still people having issues. But Google said they fully fixed it as of 9:30 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday night. This is the second time they said it was fully fixed, so hopefully it is fully fixed. We covered, and I'll discuss it a little bit later, but I'll go into later. But basically, is it fully fixed? John Mueller is saying, well, even if your pages are still not indexed, Google does not index the whole web. Google has not indexed the whole web in long time, or ever, really, to be honest. Danny Sullivan does not want us to name the bug. People were saying, let's call it the black hole bug because of the black hole pictures, which I think is kind of cute. But Danny Sullivan said it kind of is confusing to name bugs when they're just bugs and they're not necessarily algorithm updates. Moz released the data saying that based on their sample size, which was only 23%, or sorry, 23,000 URLs, and Google has like hundreds of billions of URLs in their index, probably trillions, that only about 4% of the index was impacted by this. Of course, that's looking at Moz's sample size of them tracking the first page results of, again, 23,000 URLs or so. That's okay. It's perfectly fine. It's a sample size that Dr. Pete Myers is okay with. But it is a significant part of the index. Google will not tell us what sizes. Should they tell us? Of course, I think they should. But Google is not telling us what impact this had on their index. So unless Google tells us, we really never know. But the best alternative is the tool provider is giving us that data. And Moz was the only one to actually have given us that data. We asked Search Metrics, we asked Rank Ranger, we asked pretty much all the tool providers, and most of them said they can't based on their data, maybe because their sample size is too small, or was just too hard to figure out. And whatever, it is what it is. But Google launched a new Discover report. So now, if you ever go to your Google homepage on mobile, you'll see like there's like a news feed of stuff that might be interested to you. Or if you ever go to Google News and there's like a For You section, or if you just go to the Google Assistant, you might see a Discover page. It used to be called Google Now, then it used to be called Google Feed, and now it's called Google Discover as of a few months ago. And now Google's actually showing you a new tab. If your site has enough traffic from Google Discover, you have to have enough traffic, meaningful visibility, Google said, to see this Discover tab in the performance in the Google Search Console. You click on it, or you don't. You go to the overview page. You can see the search results traffic versus the Google Discover traffic. This is brand new data. Google never showed us data in the search results. It was only Google Discover. And now you can see for at least some sites, this is making up 15%, 60% of the overall Google traffic universe. When you click into it, Google will show you for Discover content the total clicks, impressions, and average CTR, and it'll break it down by pages, countries, and Discover appearance, like AMP or something like that. Now, it would be cool to have another tab for saying what topic it came up for, like SEO, PPC, I don't know, political news, whatever you cover. It would be nice to see what topic it was generated, because you can actually specify the topics you're interested in. And again, this is new data. Google never showed any of this data in the Search Console, and Google sent out email notifications about this if your site was verified and has it. It is not a ranking factor. I don't know why people would think it would be a ranking factor, but some people have asked. But it does seem like if your content does well in the algorithm, like if Google trusts your content, it might also go ahead and do well in the Google Discover. Here's a chart from Glenn Gabe saying, oh, the March core update, this site was doing poorly both in search and Google Discover, but when it did well in the March core update, both Discover and core search actually increased. In any event, there's a help document on that, on how to optimize, but you really can't optimize your content for Google Discover and so forth. But it's very interesting, and it's a really, really nice tool and feature and report from Google Search. So thank you for the Google Search Console team. Google, we saw this coming. So just so you know, we saw this coming weeks and weeks ago, and now it's here. Talking about the Google Discover, it was very interesting to see a Googler call it something else. So Google, obviously Google calls it this Google Discover, but this Googler called this like the -1 screen. So we have like position 0, which is like featured snippets. We have 0 search results, which are obviously just answers. We have things like positions 1 through 10, which are the 10 blue links. And now we have something we're going to call position -1, which is Google Discover, because Google is giving you content before you actually ask for it. And Mattel Ubel from the AMP team said the -1 screen on Android, among other services. So he's calling it the -1 screen. Position -1 might be what SEOs call it, because it's pretty cool to call it that. Google Search Console also launched a new search filter. Sorry about that. A new search filter specifically for AMP stories. So now if you go to Google Search Console and you go to the performance report and you click on search appearance, you might be able to filter for AMP stories. This is a mock-up I made. I can't see it because I don't have any reports like that. They added to the help document as well, saying AMP stories, a visually storytelling format built for AMP that enables a user to tap through full story images and so forth. AMP stories was launched about a year ago. Let me see if I can show you some examples of it. Basically, it's more feature, visual, graphical interface, which looks more like this. So you can actually click through things and it will swipe and do different things, which is cool. And now if your site supports AMP stories and you get traffic for it, the Search Console report lets you filter your performance data on that, which is pretty cool. Google has dropped the sort by date feature in the search results interface, but they added new search commands or operators before : and after : so Google announced this they announced it after bugging them. Where's the sort filter? It's going away. And Google kind of dropped it, and they made a whole row of tweets, like 15 or 16 different tweets about this announcement. And in the 13th tweet, they said, with this news, here, as part of preparing for these tools, we also retired the sort by date option, except for a new search. Sort by date was an option that only appeared if someone previously selected the date filters, et cetera, et cetera. It's available in news. This is what it actually looked like, sort by date. It is now gone from the All tab, from the web search tab. But they actually added these new before and after filters. So you could actually search for like keyword phrase before or after a specific date, or after and before. And if you're a pro user, you could do things like these commands or actual time commands. It's the US format for the dates and so forth. So that's a nice command to have. Definitely nice to have that filters. It makes it very, very easy to kind of do some research about old stories and stuff like that. Talking about search operators, Matt Cutts, former Googler, former spam fighter, now with the USDS, running that, says he wants the plus operator. Now that Google Plus is gone, when Google Plus launched, Google removed the plus operator to remove any confusion around searches around Google Plus. And now that it's gone, why can't Google bring back the plus operator? Which is funny because Danny Sullivan responded to Matt Cutts' tweet, copying a previous tweet that Matt Cutts responded to him about he'll pass along his feedback. It's just, again, my world is upside down. In the SEO world, we have Matt Cutts complaining to Danny Sullivan, who works at Google now, about adding features or making changes at Google. Google's rich results and mobile-friendly interfaces are buggy. There's reports that both the rich results are not showing up in the search results for lots of sites, and that the mobile-friendly response in Google search is showing the wrong information. Danny Sullivan said it's unrelated to the indexing bug, but there's many reports about this and they're looking into it. And I think there's many reports about the mobile-friendly bug as well. Google Search Console performance reports now, really should have grouped these better, I apologize, into the Google Search Console thing, but basically now they are consolidated. Back in the day, I think back in February, Google announced that they're going to consolidate URLs on the canonical URL, and they gave 2 views for it. You could switch to the old view or see the consolidated view, but that button to go to the old view is gone. This was available until April 10th, and now it is completely gone. So you're no longer able to see the non-consolidated view of your Search Console performance report. Also, Google added an app filter in the search appearance report. So not just AMP stories, but apps. So if you have Android apps, you will get this filter. I have this filter, Android app, and it's available to see just specifically your Android app content. So Search Engine Roundtable has an app if you want it. It's available for iOS and Android. You go to scroundtable.com/app and you can download it. But if you have that, if you have an Android app for your website, it will let you actually see search traffic performance reports around your Android app. Google is testing a more modern version of Chrome for Googlebot, so it can render more of the modern web apps, JavaScript, and so forth. Martin Splitt confirmed it after Deep Crawl did an analysis and saw that Googlebot was testing not Chrome 41, which is what Googlebot really uses, but they're testing version 69 and above, which lets them render more of the modern web. Martin Splitt said, yes, we're testing things all the time. Sometimes these experiments are visible. So it will be interesting to see when this launches because they are testing it out in the open web. Google's cache date is old. Again, this happens fairly often, but Google says don't worry about it. If you go to many sites, you'll see it's like 10 days old, 15 days old, 20 days old, etc. Again, it's something you really shouldn't have to worry about per se. It's something that we've seen Google happen multiple times, and it doesn't impact your rankings, doesn't impact your indexing. It looks like a bug with the Google cache, so don't worry about it. Google probably will fix it eventually. Definitely not a priority for them. There's a debate at Webmaster World, should Google index the whole web? I think back when in like 2003 or something like that, 2004, Yahoo, which was running their own web index, and Google were always like competing about who has the largest index. We have a billion pages, we have 1 trillion pages, et cetera, et cetera. Google stopped that. They don't really care anymore. They just want to kind of cherry pick the best pages to index, although they have hundreds of billions of web pages indexed. I forgot the exact number. It's here somewhere. Google said in their help documents they contains hundreds of billions of web pages with over 100 billion gigabyte sizes. Any event, they don't index the whole web. You know that. Google has been saying that for years. John Mueller has been saying that since 2015. But is that something they should be doing? Brett Tapke says, like, why shouldn't they index the whole web? They're saying their mission statement is to bring, obviously to not consolidate, but to surface all the information in the world to users. That's in their mission statement. Their mission statement says they basically want to make sure that they bring you all the web content in one place, and they're not technically doing that. Is that something they should be doing or not? And that's a pretty fun controversy to talk about. Talking about content, Google says they prefer when you serve up dynamic content not to redirect the user to a different URL based on that personalization, but instead to kind of tweak the content slightly, make sure the content's equivalent, but tweak the content slightly for that person who's going there. So don't go ahead and just redirect them somewhere else. Don't go ahead and make a completely different page. Make sure the page content is equivalent to the main page that Googlebot sees, but you could tweak it a little bit if you want to. Google posted a video on more JavaScript SEO tips, this one on vue.js, how to make the titles, descriptions, and URLs visible to Google so they can actually index vue.js content. Definitely take a look at that if you're doing that. Google's site link images seem to be live now. It's something this guy showed us months and months ago as a test, but now it seems like when you do a search for certain things, you can actually see images in the actual site links on mobile, which is pretty cool. And finally, the Google Assistant now has search ads officially. This is something they tested months ago. And now, according to Google, in their announcement, you can actually see ads in the Google Assistant where you didn't see that before. So that's pretty cool. And Google also added some more visual changes to the Google Assistant. They kind of had a one-liner about the Google ads in the Google Assistant, of course, not to drive some controversy around that, but they did that anyway. In any event, thanks so much for listening to the Search Buzz video recap. This video went a bit longer than usual, so I apologize. Anyway, my name is Barry Schwartz, and this is search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable, SERoundtable.com over the past week. Today is Friday, April 12th, and that is the search news we covered. Everyone have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.